All right, guys, you are back at Falcon Central Radio, part of the Pro Football Central Radio Network. I am one of your co-hosts, Aaron Freeman, joined once again by a guest co-host stepping in for my usual co-host, Scott Karasik. This week, I am joined by Jalen Muhammad. You know him from the DBN Report Podcast, giving those hot takes. You also check him out on Twitter at Jalen Muhammad. Welcome to the show, Jalen.
Hello. It's about time. It's been 7-8 months running now. It finally happened. So
Yeah. There was I think it was like last September. We were like, "Hey, Joe, good to have you on."
and then it never happened again. I was like, all right. Well.
Then I just I blocked him on Twitter so he wouldn't be able to harass me. No, I'm kidding. All right. Anyway, guys, so let's go through the rundown of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the Falcons draft options, focusing on the D tackle position primarily. And of course, as usual, we'll be answering your guys' mailbag questions as well. So let's jump right into this thing. Let's talk about these D tackles. Jalen, I know you are a draft expert.
I'm gonna need you to take the quotations off of that. I am a draft expert. I have not missed on a player yet, so I respect my authority.
Okay, sure. All right. So, looking at the D tackles in this year's draft, who do you think are the best guys?
If you've been following me on Twitter for any amount of time, you know that I'm a huge Vita Vea fan, and he's just because I don't even just until I watched Maurice Hurst, he was like my number one defensive tackle. But I have so much invested in Vea now, so he kind of has to stay my number one. But it's an asterisk next to it. Hurst is probably my favorite, so he's DT1 asterisk. And then beyond that, there's a bunch of like guys that I don't really think deserve to be in the first round. They're just there.
Well, I have this feeling that the Falcons are going to either wind up with Deron Payne or Taven Bryan with their first round pick. And I know you're not a huge fan of Taven Bryan. Maybe you could explain that. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on Deron Payne?
Which one do you want me to go for? Is Bryan or Payne?
Whoever the takes are hottest for.
All right. Well, it's definitely Taven. Well, that's Deron Payne. I actually like Taven Bryan. I don't think he's like a first rounder per se. Like, if he's like there and they take him, I'm not gonna be mad or anything. But like we've been talking about, if he's like Hurst isn't there, because I know Vea's not gonna be there. Hopefully, as long as he doesn't go to the Saints, I'll be fine where Vea goes. But as with Bryan, I think that he's just like really raw, and I don't know how like well that'll work. Like I know Charles, like 2 weeks ago or whatever, said that he's kind of like Rashid Hageman, where he's just like extremely athletic, but doesn't know what he's doing half the time. And we saw that worked out. So, and then for Payne, I just think he's just a run stopper at this point. Like he has flashes like the Georgia game where he destroyed my team, unfortunately, for like most of the game.
Yes.
Then like other games, like every other game besides that one, and maybe the FSU game where like, he did pretty good there. But FSU has an awful offensive line, so I can't really put anything on that. He just did nothing much but be a run stopper. Like if you want that at the first overall pick, then have fun with that. But I'd rather have somebody else if they're available.
Okay. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen with the Falcons and their pick, but
I never know what the Falcons are going to do. I just hope that they don't do anything stupid like trading up.
Well, your boy D-Led of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution is talking about the Falcons really want Vea or really want Payne, and I guess there's been some talk that they might trade up for one of those guys. Would you feel good about trading up for Vea since he's your top guy? Obviously, clearly, you don't necessarily feel good about trading up for Payne, but if the trade up was for Vea, how would you feel about that move?
Depending on what we gave up, like if we gave up, the good thing about the Falcons is they don't really need much. They're just really looking for like depth and maybe one or two starters. Is like if it was like trading up, depending on where he's like you go to, like if he's like there like 17 or something, and you want to trade up there, that'll probably take like a second, a couple thirds this year, next year. Something around that.
something like that.
Now I would be fine with it because I think he has the talent to be there, but that's probably just me. But if it was like for Payne and we did that, I would be livid.
Okay. Well, we got a question from someone along those lines from Digital Demon. He says, what are the odds of trading up to get a player like Maurice Hurst? Pro Football Focus has him ranked as the third best player overall in this draft.
I would be fine with it. I like Hurst.
Do you feel like the Falcons are going to trade up, though? It seems like that's where we're headed.
What was that report? I think it was either D-Led or Vaughn said that we're like after every winning season they traded up to get somebody, and that trend followed last year with Tack. It seemed like they're going to because they like really like their guys, and their guys are usually the right people. So as long as we don't give up like Julio level trading things, then I don't really care.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be.
I'm kind of the same way. Like it feels like I'm sort of making peace with them trading up. I'm not really a big fan of them trading up at all, like giving up anything, whether that's a third or a fourth round pick to go up, because I just feel like, my guy is Nathan Shepard, because I feel like you could just like trade back and get Nathan Shepard.
I like him too.
And I feel like Shepard is maybe like a notch below guys like Payne and Brian, or half a notch below those guys. But I just feel like you can find a way, take somebody, I don't know, take a cornerback in round 1 and then trade up in round 2 to get Shepard or something like that. That to me is a better strategy than trading up in round 1. But, I'm basically making peace with the fact that the Falcons are going to trade up, and I'm going to be sitting there on Thursday night of the draft, just like, like last year. That's kind of how everybody was after the Tack pick. It's just like, okay, I guess we traded up for Tack, and then once Tack started going crazy on national TV, I was better with that trade.
The funniest thing with the Tack pick was I was like, people thought I was like mad about it, because like I thought Tack was like an early second round pick, because I like bendy edges instead of like raw power, because I like people who get sacks instead of just pressure.
Yeah.
And I was just like, my first tweet was, because I like causing a reaction out of people, was I was like, man, why do we pick Tack? There was like a whole bunch of like guards there, because I wanted Forrest Lamp and like somebody else who went in the second. I think Feeney went in the second, something like that. Yeah. I was like, man, and then Tack like literally 30 seconds after he like got off the stage, liked my tweet. I was like, oh my God. Don't take it seriously. I'm sorry. I was kidding.
Luaz Abraham asks, what are your thoughts on trading back some spots and landing the best run stopper in the draft, Harrison Phillips, according to Pro Football Focus?
I would prefer that than trading up.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like Harrison Phillips and Shepard 1-2, like that all day. I'll take that all day.
I think they're going to take 2 defensive tackles regardless. So as long as you get like a run stopper, I don't care when you get it. I'd prefer you get a run stopper. He has some kind of pass rushing upside. That's pretty much what the Falcons are lacking. Like you can stack bodies to get run stops, but you can't really stack bodies to get pass rush like that, especially not with the linebackers we have. Yeah.
Phillips is a guy that's like not really has a high upside as a pass rusher, but I feel like we could be, 4 or 5 years from now looking back at this draft class and being like, oh yeah, he's the best run stopper in this draft class. He could even be better than Vea in that regard. So like, I'm not going to be, obviously I don't really believe in necessarily taking run stoppers in round 1, but if we were to trade back to like, 30 or 31 or something, basically that's a second round pick at that point, in terms of value. So at that point, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I would love to take Shepard at that point and maybe get the run stopper later in round 2 or round 3 or something like that. But who knows?
Agreed.
Do you have any other D tackles that you think are maybe whether it's a Phillips or whether it's a Shepard or somebody else? Is there anybody else besides those 4 top guys that you think is worthy of a first round pick?
Not really. Just like 4, 3, 3.5 defensive tackles that are worth a first round pick, and then the rest are just like mid, late second, and third rounders. I have a lot of people that were like upside players, but are like raw, which is weird. Why people want Taven Bryan like Foley for Fadukasi? I think that's how you say his name. Like I'd much rather spend a third, fourth on him than taking like Deron Payne or Taven Bryan in the first, because they do pretty much the same thing.
I agree. I'm curious because like I didn't come across this until the other day, but apparently at the owners' meetings like 2 weeks ago or whenever that was, Dan Quinn was talking and he was getting quotes and people were talking about it. And sort of one of the quotes that I saw was that he was expecting big things from Jack Crawford. Is there a world where the Falcons are targeting a guy like Deron Payne or some other run stopper at the top of the draft because they have a lot more confidence than probably certainly me, and I'm assuming also you, in terms of Jack Crawford coming back from that injury and maybe being sort of the main nickel defensive tackle, and they're more looking for a two-down guy early in the draft. Does that make any sense in your eyes?
What was his injury? Was it an Achilles? Did he tear his Achilles or something?
Oh, I think it was a pec, wasn't it, or something like that?
If as long as it wasn't like an Achilles or something, then that'll be fine.
You should probably know this information.
It happened so early. It happened so early in the season. I actually forgot he was on the team to be honest. So I'm not surprised. But I'd rather he has another year or two on his contract.
Yeah.
I'd rather, if you're gonna like go that route, then try to find somebody who does that and who's younger and will still be on contract after he leaves. Like he's fine as a rotational piece. Like he was pretty decent when he was healthy, but I'd rather draft somebody. That's usually my response for everything. Just draft people.
Fair enough. It's a torn biceps, by the way.
Okay, so yeah, he should be fine.
Yeah, I think Crawford could be a part of the solution, I guess, because there's a decent chance that whoever the Falcons draft is a rookie, whether particularly if it's a guy like Payne or Bryan who's not necessarily ready to go. Like if they draft Maurice Hurst, like Maurice Hurst is going to step in and be that nickel guy day one, and hopefully give you everything that you want at that spot. But with Bryan or Payne or maybe one of these other guys, like even a Shepard as well, like you do feel like, okay, there's a decent chance that Crawford might be rotating with that guy a decent amount, at least early in the season, until that guy, sort of is able to prove himself. And similar to what we saw with Tack last year, where they sort of started him out slow, and as the season wore on, they started using him a lot more. So like I could see Crawford in that role, but if we're talking about Jack Crawford, getting like 30, 40 snaps,
not a fan.
Yeah, I like Jack. He plays hard. He's a guy that you like. But if he's like your fourth or fifth best defensive lineman, that's not necessarily ideal. Let's say that.
I was gonna say something because when you said that, like being your fourth or fifth best defensive lineman, I thought of Babs, but Babs was infinitely better. Yeah, that's why I said I wasn't gonna disrespect because we all love Babs. We all love Babs. I can't disrespect him like that. It's not in my code.
So we talked about the D tackle position. Is there any other position that you're sort of looking at as a possibility, or maybe that you want to see the Falcons going around one? I already mentioned that if the Falcons aren't going to take a D tackle, I'd like to see them go cornerback in round one and maybe pull the trigger on somebody a D tackle in round two. What are your thoughts on a non-defensive tackle in the first round?
You definitely go quarterback. I think it's about time to get rid of Matt. No, I'm kidding. We should. I dabble around with my mocks that I do, even though I haven't done one in like 3 days. With taking like edges, but that's just to test the water to see what would happen, because like there's not really many there's like 2 edges, but I think they're gonna get taken early around our pick. I think Josh Sweat is gonna go extremely early, earlier than I thought. But besides that, not really. Cornerback is fine with me. Maybe wide receiver if there's somebody who falls really far that they thought weren't going to be there. Maybe if you can get a Cortland Sutton, maybe. And all the others just what ifs. It's I don't at this point I just trust who the Falcons are going to draft. I don't really care.
Yeah, it's hard for me to picture them not taking a D tackle. And
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why I think they'll wind up trading up if anything. I would like to. I think cornerback has the best value at that spot, just because you can get like a Mike Hughes type of player or Jair Alexander, and that guy can come in day one and instantly give you a high level nickel cornerback. And this is something we talked about, but it's like you're basically drafting Bradley Roby when you already have Aqib Talib and Chris Harris, like Denver did a couple of years ago, and that can maybe that some of the issues that you would have in terms of your pass rush. Maybe if you have three high-level corners, then maybe the Falcons could be a lot more aggressive blitzing. We saw Campbell did a really good job blitzing last year, the opportunities he got. And so maybe bringing, if you have three cornerbacks that you can trust to lock guys down in man coverage, you can bring a lot more 5- and 6-man pressures. Like I think it was the Rams game, like the first snap on defense, they brought a 6-man pressure, and I was like, oh my God, like this is
It was
amazing,
shocking.
right? Yeah, and I was like, why can't we see more of this, in future years or whatever? So, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I would hate to see them take a wide receiver because I just don't feel like wide receivers should be drafted that high when you already have Julio Jones. And, we already basically took a number 3 wide receiver in Mohamed Sanu and turned him into a good number 2 wide receiver. So like
right.
I feel like like DJ Moore or Calvin Ridley, like I'm not going to complain about that because I think they're good. Even a guy like Cortland Sutton, like I wouldn't complain about it, but it's like really like
it's not really valued at that point.
Yeah, I mean it's just kind of like you're not going to get a return on that until like next year, and that's only if you cut Mohamed Sanu. Like if they drafted a wide receiver and then traded Mohamed Sanu, I'd be much more on board with that. But I know that's not going to happen.
That's definitely definitely not happening.
Yeah. So I've seen a couple people talk about tight end. I don't really think there's a first round tight end in this draft.
Literally all of them. Like I don't even think there's a second round tight end in this draft. I think all of them were like third rounders.
Yeah, it's kind of. I kind of feel the same way.
Like Austin Hooper, even though that draft was a little bit better of tight end, got drafted in the third round, and he's better than everybody in this draft. Like up.
Like maybe a late second round. Same thing with Dallas Goedert. Maybe a late second round, but it's like there's no like even Hunter Henry. Wasn't he like a mid second rounder in the same draft that Hooper was taken? Like there's nobody better than Hunter Henry in this draft. So it's it's not a need. What are your thoughts on hearing that the Falcons are working out Leighton Vander Esch and Rashaan Evans, 2 linebackers that are projected to go in round 1?
I think they're just doing their due diligence on players. Like you don't really need a linebacker, and if you're getting a linebacker, then our dream of trading Devondre Campbell is closer to being to fruition. But like
definitely happen.
Either that or they're just preparing for not signing one of them back next year, or like not picking up one of their options if it's possible. Like if they take one of those, that person's probably definitely going to start next year, if not this year. And one of their linebackers are gone, and which I'd assume would be Campbell.
Yeah, look, Vander Esch was like, I'm looking at it now. He's 96th percentile broad jump. Basically, the Falcons
I know. Dan Quinn was Dan Quinn saw that and had the Vince McMahon sweating gif. He was like, "Oh man, that guy."
Anybody that gets in like the 95th percentile broad jump, the Falcons are going to work that guy out somehow. It's just even if if it's a quarterback, he's going to get worked out by the Falcons basically.
I feel like he really benefited from his combine because like I watched him a little bit before like his combine. He was good, obviously, because you're not going to be good without getting first round hype unless you're weird Parade Jerry. But but like he wasn't like first round like good, and his combine just like boosted him up like a clean like round and a half.
Yeah, man, Boise State guys, like that happened to Shea McClellan a couple of years ago. And like I like Shea McClellan like as a late second rounder, and then the Bears took him at like 14 or something ridiculous, and I was like, really? Like
that Bears.
and then now he's in New England being a backup or something like that. So like, I don't think Van Der Esch is going to be a backup or anything like that. But like the top 15 talk, I'm like, yeah, you're really just basically going full all in on upside because he only started 1 year. And yeah, you're right, he's good, but more like as an early second round good as opposed to top 15, top 20 good. So we'll see where he gets drafted, but. Yeah, that broad jump. It's the same thing with the tackle from UCLA that they worked out too because he set the record for like offensive line broad jumps or something like that, and I was like, Dan Quinn was all over that.
I remember I was in class and then I saw that and I literally left my class because there was like 3 minutes left. I left my class early just to like see if that shit was true. Okay, maybe I should watch him, and then he was like pretty bad, so I was like, never mind.
Are there sort of any guys on day 2 or day 3 that you're really sort of, that are your quote unquote sons that you're hoping the Falcons nab and after round 1?
I don't know because my rankings of players and what the NFL does is kind of wrong. Like I was a big fan of Terrell Basham last year, and I wanted him to go like in the 3rd or 4th or something like that. And the Colts like jumped up early and got him, and he was pretty decent for them. But besides that, like I don't really have many children in this draft because after I watched like most of the defensive tackles and like some of the edges, I was just like, yeah, maybe I just chill out and take a peek here and there. Did we ever get? Speaking of my sons, did we ever get the numbers on Brandon Fest's son's 3-cone?
I don't think that was one of the things I saw. Hold on, let me try to keep track of the pro day stuff. At least for all the guys that were at All-Star games.
Yeah, because if his 3-cone was better, then he's definitely one of my children. Because he can play. It was just questions on if he could change direction.
I don't see anything on his 3-cone, so we don't know yet. But I know they had their pro day. I just don't know if it's been reported yet.
Because he tested better than I thought he would in like the 40 and everything. So
yeah, I thought he was going to be like a.
I thought he was going to be like a 4.7 guy. To be honest,
I was like, he's going to be like a 4.7 guy. Yeah, yeah, he did test better than I thought he would, speed wise. So yeah, we'll see what the 3-cone is. Evan Birchfield asks, what's more likely, the Falcons draft a wide receiver, quarterback, or running back?
Quarterback. No kidding. Probably wide receiver. Yeah, since they're adamant on doing the wrong thing and paying Tevin Coleman. So
okay, strong take, bold. Not really. It's pretty much what everybody says. Evan Birchfield asks, name some of your sleepers in this draft.
Don't really have. We've already talked about like 2 of them: Shepard, Phillips, quotation marks, as a sleeper. Who is this? It was Ada Runa from Toledo. I think he's from. I watched him the other day, and I liked what I saw there. He's probably going to go like the 5th or 6th round or something like that, which would be fine because the Falcons worked him out the other 2 days ago too. So, that's pretty much it. Everybody else I've seen, but they're not really like sleepers. They're gonna get drafted where they're pretty much projected to.
Yeah, I haven't done it outside of D tackles and guards. I haven't really done a ton of deep work on this draft class, and so all my sleepers are guards that the Falcons aren't going to take, like Tony Adams, and Dijon Allen from Hawaii,
Brian Allen from Michigan State. I liked. You could tell where we did both of our homework on.
January and February looking at D tackles and guards, and then
they just completely went over inside.
Yeah, and I was like,
just like,
man, I could have been watching linebackers.
Right. Now I gotta go back and I gotta go redo stuff, man. Dang, always the Falcons, man. Always ruining stuff.
That's what they do, man. Look, that's what they do, man. I've been living this life for 20 years. This Falcons are ruining my life. Andy asks, do you think there's any chance the Falcons invest another early pick in a linebacker or let Duke be the depth and special teams guy?
I think Duke is going to be a starter, and I think he's going to be a damn good starter. I might be the minority in that, but I think he's going to be good. So,
yeah, if the Falcons take a linebacker early, I'm just going to be like, what are we doing, man? Like, like what is their problem? Like, this is a good linebacker draft, so it would. I
wouldn't hate it because draft the depth for the strength of the draft, but like you have 3 starters or 2 and 0.75 starters. You don't really need another one. Yeah. You need a defensive tackle. So like
you need 2 defensive tackles. You probably really need 3 if we're being honest. And so, taking linebackers and it's just like the Falcons don't really have like D tackle is their one massive need. Like they can upgrade some other spots. Like linebacker is a spot. They certainly need depth at linebacker, but they don't need to be worried about starters at linebacker with Campbell and Jones and then whatever Duke Riley does this year.
And then they re-signed Ishmael today.
Yes. So like, come on, man. Like no, like if they use another like 2nd or 3rd round pick on a linebacker, I'm just gonna like this dude better be like the second coming of Anthony Barr or something like that. Because if he's not, right, then that's a horrible draft pick. Andy asked, do you think the Falcons seriously consider a backup quarterback, or are they more likely to wait until Schaub has retired?
Everybody keeps using the, Schaub knows Shanny system excuse as to why they should keep him. And I have no problem with keeping him because, if Matt, God forbid, I'm knock on wood right now, ever gets hurt, then I wouldn't have a problem with Schaub winning us a game until we found somebody else. Because I don't trust him to like finish the season, to be honest.
No Nick Foles, Super Bowl run.
Yeah, even then Nick Foles was pretty bad on like 3 of those games. So if it wasn't for he who shall not be named as our offensive coordinator, we would have won that game. But that's neither here nor there. So I wouldn't mind them taking one. Like they've been working out a lot of them and like doing private visits with a few of them. So if they drafted one like the 6th round, then I wouldn't hate it. That saves you. That also saves you money from the cap after the post June 1st cuts and everything happen. So if there's like if Harrison Snacks there is still around at that time, then might as well burn the money on him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't see the point of cutting Schaub because I feel like, you want your backup quarterback to either be basically a quarterback coach or a guy that's got developmental upside. And so I get why people like are hoping the Falcons get a young quarterback to replace Schaub because he has developmental upside. But given the situation with, a certain offensive coordinator and the fact that Matt Ryan and him are trying to get on the same page, like I feel like any time spent trying to develop a guy is just time wasted because the focus in that quarterback room needs to be on Matt Ryan being comfortable in this offense. And I don't think a rookie is going to help you one bit in that regard. But if they, they used the day 3 pick on a this is a good quarterback class compared to recent years. So there's going to be talent into rounds 4 and 5 and whatnot. So like if they took a guy like Mike White out of Western Kentucky, I watched a little bit more of him because I was trying to watch somebody else.
I like him.
And so like, I wouldn't sit here and be like, oh man, he's going to be a future starter or anything like that. Like if he, he'll like probably the type of player that he has the potential to become if everything works out is a Matt Schaub type, but more like not good Houston Matt Schaub, not rather than
like a low end starter that you're looking to replace the next year.
Yeah. Like I don't think he's going to be Pro Bowl Matt Schaub or anything like that, but. Like, yeah, like if they drafted him in round 4 or something like that, like I wouldn't be upset because I think he's good. And there's a couple other guys that I've seen a little bit of that I'm intrigued by but I'm not wasting too much time watching quarterbacks when I don't think the Falcons are going to draft one. So like, yeah, I mean, like I wouldn't, basically as you guys have been watching and listening, like we all sort of just talk ourselves into whatever the Falcons do because they're going to do whatever they're going to do, and eventually you're just going to have to get on board with it or not. So it's like, no, I wouldn't like that, but whatever, like.
Nothing much we can really do. We're going to watch them regardless.
And it's like, generally speaking, they've done a good job the last 3 years with the draft, so you can't really complain about it, even if you don't really like the move. It's just like, they've earned the benefit of the doubt. So it's like, yeah, like I think a quarterback kind of is a waste of a draft pick, but if you get the right guy, it's hard to be too mad at it. So, yeah. C. Butler at Celtic Colin on Twitter asks, when do we trade for Gronk?
Now, immediately. Do it now. The Patriots are vulnerable right now. Go ahead and throw them that 7th round pick that they require and get Gronk on the Falcons.
Yeah, we trade for Gronk the day that Drew Brees hoists a Lombardi trophy for the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh man, you have to go there. I might just
that's
there.
That's going to be the day. Basically, the point is it's never going to happen. So yeah,
the GOAT Eric Saubert needs a backup. So
yeah, the day that Ray Edwards comes out of retirement and gets the game-winning sack in the UFC Championship game for the Falcons is the day we trade for Gronk.
Life comes full circle.
Yeah. To Gift Queen at Lethal Saint, your girl. What is y'all's take on the fans, quote, fans that want to trade OBJ for Matt Ryan?
I haven't seen that. Like, really? That's a thing? They want to trade Odell for Matt Ryan?
Look, Lethal Saint runs in very unique circles within the Falcons.
Oh, trust me, I know that because I be blocking everybody that she interacts with. So
I try to she's my buffer between that side of Falcons Twitter. So like I stay on this side of Falcons Twitter.
You're on this side. I'm the buffer between y'all and them, and she's the buffer between me and them. So
yeah,
there's level to this shit.
Yeah, I don't mess around with that part of Falcons Twitter. So if there's people out there saying that, have fun with it, I guess.
Go ahead and get those tweets off, man. Nobody gonna hate you. You have fun. It's not happening.
If that's what you want to be about in your Twitter life, then go ahead, do it. I'm not going to tell you. Like, if you're tweeting that the Falcons should trade Matt Ryan for OBJ, there ain't nothing I'm going to say to you. There's
nothing I can say. It's just there.
Like, you just live in your own life and go about living your own life. That's all I can say.
Prosper. Just go ahead and. Football might not be your thing, but I know you have something else that you can do.
All right, Luez Abraham asks, is Brandon Cook worth a first-round 23rd overall pick? Pats need a defensive tackle as well. Does that mean Atlanta trades up?
To the first part, sure, because he already got traded for a first-round pick, and he's good. So the Rams don't really. I was about to say the Rams don't really need anything after all they did, but they need depth everywhere. So that's not really it doesn't really matter there. So good from them. I'm still terrified to play them, but I still think we could beat their offense. And the second part, I don't know what the hell the Patriots are gonna do. They're always gonna do something to spite me. It's so I'm not even they legit drafted who was the one from Youngstown State last year?
Rivers.
Yeah, I wanted him over Tack, and they drafted him instead. So I had to hate him now, and so they're just going to do something to spite me. So it doesn't really matter. I don't know.
Yeah, is Cooks worth the 23rd overall pick? Not really, but that's me being I don't really think any wide receivers are worth the first round pick, other than Julio Jones and Mike Evans and
basically the top three. Basically, after that, if you're not an elite number one wide receiver prospect, then I don't really think you're really worth a first round pick. But Cooks is about as good as you can hope for as a number one wide receiver, unless you have a top 10 pick at this point. He's a top 20 wide receiver, so that's maybe worth a late one. I don't think the Pats really need a D tackle. They got Malcolm Brown. They just traded for. Oh yeah, him too. I wanted him really bad the year they drafted him too, and they stole him from me.
So I don't think the Pats are really in the market for. They got Claiborne now. Rivers is coming back. So I think they're good on their pass rush in their front. I think if they're going to take anybody, it might be a wide receiver now, or there's been rumors. I listened to the Ringer NFL podcast with Mike Lombardi today on my way to work, and he was talking about them possibly moving up for a quarterback, maybe your boy Lamar Jackson or something like that. And it would be just like the Patriots to wind up with
Dog, if he goes to the Patriots draft him, I am quitting the NFL for at least a season. Like if any NFL executive ever stumble upon this show, please don't let that happen. Don't let them take like somebody like Loud Letter or something. Like he'd be fine. Just don't give them my son, please.
Yeah.
They've taken enough from me already. Come on, man.
I just every draft I just go like the Patriots going to do something that's going to piss me off.
Exactly.
It was taking Derek Rivers in round 3 when we all were like talking about him being like our first round pick, and then this year it's going to be like them getting Lamar Jackson, and it's just going to be like, you idiots, you let this happen. Why did you let this happen? And he'll flourish there. So you can be like, I told you Lamar Jackson was going to be QB1 if that's what you're in the business for. But if you're in the business of hating the Patriots, like 98% of the world outside the city of Boston, then that's not necessarily something you want.
Literally, the only way I would cheer for the Patriots is if Tom Brady retired, Bill Belichick just like disappeared out of nowhere, and their fans magically became like tolerable. So basically, it's not happening anytime soon. So, so just there's just a thought of that just makes me throw up. Ugh.
Yeah, there you go. What's next? Okay, Digital Demon asks, I have seen the Falcons very interested in Nick Chubb. In the Nick Chubb, that's what he says.
Yes,
I see
the Nick Chubb from the University of Georgia. Okay.
I see RB3 as something the Falcons could legitimately address. So is this a smokescreen or is there a fire there?
Probably a smokescreen because, he went to school at Georgia, local pro day. Even though they talked to him a lot, they probably saw that he was winning and put up crazy numbers at Georgia. If you're drafting Nick Chubb, then Devontae Freeman's probably not going to be here for much longer. Because I think, like, if you're trying to replace Tevin, you try to go after Sony. But, like, Chubb is more, like, free than he is, like, Tevin. So,
yeah, like, Chubb's going to be a top 40 pick. So,
yeah,
I don't see any world where the Falcons, unless they're going to take him at 26.
Oh, my God. That would... I'm all for drafting the Georgia players, but if they did that, bro, I'd be so mad.
I just don't see a world where the Falcons, like, I think it is, they can work him out at the local pro day. Usually they don't have first round sort of picks at the pro day. It's usually like day 2, day 3 guys, and technically, I guess Chubb is
a day 2 guy.
So like.
Day 2.
Yeah, so he'll probably be I think he'll be a first round pick when it's all said and done, or maybe early second round. But like, yeah, so I think they just hey Nick, you want to come down, travel 20 minutes down the road and come work out for us. I think that's more of a smokescreen than they're legitimately going to take him. I'm sure they're legitimately interested in him. Who wouldn't be? But like, unless he falls to
round 3, it is not happening.
Yeah, so like I was saying, would they take him in round 2? Like,
no,
maybe. I don't know.
Literally, the only Bulldogs that have a sliver of a chance of being Falcons are Javon Wims and Davin Bellamy, because like they fall into the range where the Falcons just like looking for depth players, and everybody else is just like either too good or just not good enough to be on the roster.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, and Trenton Thompson, but I think he's going to go in like late second, and we're going to be picking before he gets taken. So
I have no idea where Trenton Thompson is going to go. Like, I feel like some days he'll be a second.
Yeah, it's weird.
Some days I feel like he's going to be a 4th or something like that. So I have
it's so weird. Like I couldn't tell you because he was like really good because I watched like all Georgia games. Like he was really good, but like he's basically like what we said earlier. He's just a run stopper at this point. He flashed as a pass rusher, but it wasn't anywhere like where it gives you a vote of confidence.
Yeah. All right.
It's really weird. And he had injury problems too, so I don't know.
Yeah. That's where it is, because like there's always like a couple of guys that drop in the draft that you see like in round 6 and stuff, and it's like, why is this guy still on the board? And it's because of injury issues. So like, I don't think he'll fall that far, but like if he's like goes in like round 4 or 5, like we'll be like, oh yeah, it's because of the injury stuff. So I just don't know where teams value him. Digital Demon asks, I can see the Falcons addressing linebacker in the mid to late rounds. Who would be the ideal fit? Shaquem Griffin in the 4th?
I don't think he's gonna last to the 4th, but that would be cool if he did. You know, I would be glad to take him. I wouldn't complain at all.
Man, NFL's worse. They're not going to take Shaquem Griffin in the first 3 rounds. They're going to take him. He's going to go in the 4th.
He's going to go on like the 5th or 6th, and I'm going to be pissed. Yeah, he's going to go to some team that doesn't need him. NFL teams like the Seahawks or something, and I'm going to be mad.
Seahawks is the best place for him, I think.
Seahawks, and then Atlanta, and then what? Maybe.
I love Shaquem Griffin, but I want him to go somewhere where he can flourish. I don't know if he's going to flourish in Atlanta just because, like, is he going to immediately come in and start over Duke Riley? I mean, he could, but even then, like, he's still only going to be like a base guy.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, look, I'm not going to complain because, you know, then we can trade DeMondre Campbell. But, but you know, like, I don't know, like, I'm not gonna. There's never going to be a day where I complain about the Falcons taking Shaquem Griffin, but I want to see him go as high as possible to some team that's going to immediately play him and give him opportunities to prove all his skeptics and doubters wrong. And I don't know if that's Atlanta.
Another player who could send Devondre Campbell packing is Lorenzo Carter, but because I don't think he's an edge. Like he's not a good pass rusher, like at all. I think he's best like as maybe a Mike, but I don't know how he played there because he never played there. That was Roquan Smith and Reggie Carter's job. But like if you put him at like a Sam or something, because he's like really fucking fast and like really athletic, like he knows what he's doing because he has like extremely long arms. So he gets at the edge really well. So like it just depends on where you want to put him. But I don't think that'll happen either. But you know, just somebody, just throwing names out there.
Yeah, it's funny that Lorenzo Carter is probably going to go in round 2, and Leonard Floyd, who's basically the same player,
went in round 1 and like stupid.
Yeah. I remember that whole Leonard Floyd conversation we had in 2016. I was not a big fan of Leonard Floyd at all.
I was fine with him, but like more like in the second, like
it didn't like. I was so happy. Like I wasn't a big fan of Deion Jones when we drafted him, but I was so happy we didn't.
Can't relate.
Running back.
Can't relate.
In round 1, I was just like, I wasn't a huge fan of that Deion Jones pick, but I was like, it's better than wasting a pick on a first round linebacker that doesn't deserve it. So we got Keanu, we got Deion Jones out of it. So I'm happy to be wrong about that, but yeah.
I'm just saying, I was actually correct about that draft. Not to toot my own horn, you know.
Okay.
I was right about everybody we picked. I'm just saying.
Okay. Falcons, Andy, are you concerned about the Falcons' red zone defense with Pope departing?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Like,
you know,
people said that Poe wasn't worth his contract, and I just give them the side eye and just mute them real quick for the next like week or so, and just be like, yeah, okay. They expected him to come in and get like 6 sacks and 14 tackles for loss or some shit like that, and I was just like, that was never going to happen. He was really good, especially in the red zone, because that bend but don't break defense doesn't work if you don't stop in the red zone.
Yeah, I think people underrating Poe's impact need to go back and watch all the red zone snaps from 2016.
Oh, I just shuddered.
And just watch teams just pound the ball down the Falcons' throat right up the middle and tell me that Poe didn't do anything when you have like, what were we like? Weren't we like dead last in red zone defense in 2016?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
So
you're like number 1 in red zone scoring and dead last in defense. It was just...
and then we went to like 7th this year?
Yeah, like 8th or 9th or something like that. I was just like,
so yeah, I don't think that was simply because, you know, Tack McKinley came to town or whatever you want to.
Tack rarely even played so they
like,
Brooks Reed there.
You know, I don't know what else you're gonna attribute to that. Maybe guys just got better, but like I think that Poe basically and teams not being able to last year, man, like teams would be at the 5-yard line and just run a draw up the middle and they would score every time.
And in the end zone, I just knew. I was just like, all right, let me see if I can just fast forward real quick. I already know what's about to happen. Let's get the kickoff.
Yeah, so it was just like Poe did something, and I don't know if whoever we replace him with, we'll see who it is. If it's a guy like Harrison Phillips, maybe. If it's a guy like Vita Vea, then maybe you probably wouldn't see a drop off. I don't know about the rest of these guys in terms of filling that sort of value there, but I think there's probably going to be a drop off. Hopefully it's not big. Hopefully they're still like top 12 or something like that, but we'll see. All right, our last question comes from Evan Birchfield. Thoughts on the rest of the NFC going into the draft?
I have no thoughts because I don't know how anybody's going to play besides maybe the Eagles, and even then, I don't know how they're going to play. Rams added a lot of pieces. Don't know how they're going to play. They could equal the Eagles' dream team and just completely fall apart, which would be hilarious because they'd fall apart and still have like $100 million in cap space next year, which is retarded. The team's going to be really good in a minute. Eagles are fine. Falcons should still be able to beat all of them, all those teams if their offense ever gets their heads out their asses. Don't really care about the Panthers. Not really scared of them yet. Never scared of the Bucks. Never. The Saints always going to give the Falcons a problem, but that's just because of rivalry. And they didn't really do much that I've like been scared of this offseason. I'm glad that Sue didn't go there because I would have been terrified. And everybody else is just there, to be honest. Like I'm not really scared of any other team.
Minnesota's the team that I'm always going to be concerned about because they just always match up with the Falcons so well, and they got Richardson.
Yeah, they have literally the perfect like counter to everything we want to do. It's annoying.
It really is. And so like they got better. They got if not the number one, the number 2 D tackle in free agency in Richardson, and got Kirk Cousins, who obviously is the best quarterback that you could get that isn't a rookie this offseason. So those are 2 big upgrades for them because they didn't really have, their pass rush was good last year, but it was mostly Everson Griffin and Danielle Hunter just basically carrying it for them. And then when you add Richardson to that, that's going to be a problem. I feel like the Falcons are in a good spot. I feel like, I'll be even speaking of Minnesota. I'll be even more pissed if they find a way to get like Isaiah Wynn or something like that.
Please, like, come on, man.
Like Minnesota's just killing it. It's like, well, if they get like Isaiah Wynn, then I'm just basically like the Falcons are shooting to be the second place team in the NFC this year. They're going to be my pick to win the NFC if they do that. But Philadelphia is going to be up there. LA is going to be up there. The Saints, if their defense actually plays good for 2 years in a row, which has never happened before, they'll be up there. Green Bay will bounce back with Rodgers coming back.
So Green Bay shows me they have a corner, then I'm not terrible.
Well, look, I'm not worried about from a Falcons standpoint. Obviously, I'm not worried about the Packers, but I'm just saying like they'll probably be in playoff contention.
I forgot about the Bears because the Bears did a lot of good moves this offseason, especially on the offensive side. But that field is gonna ruin somebody on their team's lives, and I'm not even gonna put any thought into them. They're gonna be like the first snap, and God forbid, like somebody gets hurt or anything, because I don't ever watch injuries, unlike some of our fan base. But like, somebody's gonna go on that field and realize it's awful and like sprain an ankle or something.
Yeah, man. Like the Bears, man. Like if they get Quentin Nelson, that'll be like a money off season. Like basically, if they don't get at least 8 wins this year, then Trubisky's a bust. basically, because like they got they got
No. You don't remember that Mitch Trubisky's better than Deshaun Watson and Pat Mahomes. You don't remember that?
I'm not going to necessarily put them in the playoffs, but like if they get Nelson, like there's no excuse for them to finish below 500. Dallas, we'll see if they figure out what to do with their offense. Like they have good players, and seemingly when Zeke plays, they're good, but they're whatever.
I'm looking forward to Dez Bryant having 5 catches for 20 yards again. Going to be a one throwing up the X every first down.
I mean, San Francisco's going to be fun.
My Niners. I forgot. I haven't mentioned that today. My Niners. Yeah, they're gonna win 16 games.
They're gonna be the funnest 6-10 team.
I'm gonna have so much fun watching them. I'm gonna put it on the big screen and everything.
Yeah, I'll probably pop into all 22 of the 49ers before I pop, especially if Sark doesn't pull it together. Yeah, I'm definitely watching 49ers tape before I watch Falcons tape this year. Like, I wish we had this back again.
Hashtag not my OC, man.
We started that hashtag. So yeah. So I mean, the NFC is clearly the it's like the Western Conference in the NBA. It's like stacked. Don't even pay attention to it.
Yeah, don't even pay attention to AFC.
It's like it's the Patriots and the rest of the AFC is trash.
The Patriots, the Broncos, the Texans, and then like it's just a bunch of like nothing.
Yeah, it's garbage. It's a garbage conference. It's basically just like teams competing to lose to the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. So the NFC is stacked. The Falcons are really good and probably are like the 5th or 6th best team in the AFC. So that tells you
they'd definitely be the best team in the AFC.
Yeah. So yeah, man, the NFC's good. So it's probably going to get better after the draft. So, and the Falcons will probably get it better after the draft. I mean, they always do. So we'll see what happens. But Jalen,
Falcons literally, if they get like one or two, like Charles has been saying since for like 2 weeks now. Shout out to Four Verts. If they just get like 2 defensive tackles, and I don't really care what they do with the rest of the draft. Like that's all they really need. They don't really need anything else.
Just go all in on D tackles, man. Just D tackle.
Hey, for all I care, use all 6 picks on defensive tackles, and whether you keep them or not, it doesn't matter to me. Just go ahead and just drop all picks on them.
There you go. So, Jalen, I appreciate you coming on and serving as the guest co-host. We will definitely not wait 7 to 8 more months to have you back on. Go ahead, plug all the stuff, the Twitter, the podcast, wherever you want to plug. Be my guest.
You can catch me tweeting at my name, which is at Jalen Muhammad, JALEN, and hopefully if you're following Aaron, it'll just come up as mutuals, and I don't have to spell my last name. I think we're recording our DBNR podcast, I think tomorrow, perhaps. You can follow that page at DBNR Report on Twitter. That's pretty much it. I don't really do much else. You can catch me tweeting about my Fortnite wins and raging at the Hawks for being stupid.
You also do the daily mock draft.
Yeah, but that's like 10 days. I legit like have been dreading doing that for like a week now. Like I've done literally every scenario that like it's very possible. Like I literally can't do anything else. I'm just recycling picks now.
I'm sure like in January, like, oh, this is fun.
I was like, oh yeah, like let's go. I got all these ideas, and then like about a month later, I was just like, yeah, this is nothing much I could do now.
Yeah.
I was like excited for the combine just so I could like narrow stuff down, and then I like spent like a week after the combine like doing all scenarios. I like pre-scheduled my takes and everything, and then it was just like, yeah, I'm done with this.
So if people want to find those, where can they find them at?
There's a Twitter account called NFL Daily Mock Draft that has like a link to all of them. The website is literally just that too. It's just like www.nfldailymockdraft.com, and then you scroll down to the NFC South and pick the Falcons helmet. And all of my mocks from now since February like 5th have been there.
There you go. All right, man. Jalen, I appreciate it. If people want to hit me up, Of course, I'm at Falcons on Twitter. The show is Falcons PFC. You can get your mailbag questions in either of those accounts. Also, you can use the hashtag Falcons mailbag. Be sure to check us out on ProFootballCentral.com. Of course, on YouTube at the various channels that we seem to be on at different days, depending on circumstances. Like, I wouldn't say subscribe to my channel because this will probably be the last time it's uploaded on this one. But if you want to, then by all means do it. But certainly, you want to subscribe to Pro Football Central's YouTube channel, and of course, like us on Facebook so you can get all the updates at Falcons Central Radio on Facebook. And of course, if you're looking for the iTunes links, then you can find those at ProFootballCentral.com. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. Sorry that we keep promising Tuesday shows and keep moving them. It's just been a hectic off season. Circumstances seems to be against us, but we'll get it right. We'll have one more week next Tuesday with a guest, and then your boy Scott will be back the following week before the draft. So we'll get things back on track pretty shortly. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you again, Jalen.
Bye.